He only agreed to go on that fake date for money, nothing more. He thought it would be simple, just sit, smile, and leave. But the moment she sat down across from him, something felt wrong. She didn't smile. She didn't even introduce herself. Instead, she slowly opened her bag, took out a photo, and slid it across the table. When he looked down, his heart stopped, because the girl in that photo was his daughter, the same daughter he had left behind years ago, the same daughter he thought he would never see again. But how did this stranger get her picture? And why was she looking at him like she already knew everything? This wasn't a date anymore. This was something much darker. Stay with me, because what happens next will change everything. And before we go further, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. It's always amazing to see how far these stories reach around the world. He hadn't planned to do anything like this. Ethan Cole was not the kind of man who went on fake dates for money. But life had a way of pushing people into places they never imagined. That night, he sat alone on the edge of his worn-out couch, staring at his phone screen. The message was still open. Dinner date. Just show up, act normal. 2 hours. $500. $500. Ethan slowly ran his hand over his face. $500 meant rent. It meant groceries. It meant maybe, just maybe, sending something for his daughter. His daughter, Lily. He closed his eyes for a moment, and her face came rushing back into his mind. Soft brown hair, big curious eyes. That little smile she used to give him every time he came home late from work. Daddy, you're late again. Her voice echoed in his memory like it never left. Ethan swallowed hard. It had been 3 years. 3 years since he had seen her. 3 years since everything fell apart. The divorce, the court, the arguments. The night he walked out with nothing but a small bag and a broken heart. He was told it was temporary, just until things settled down. That's what his ex-wife said. But things never settled. Calls became fewer. Messages stopped getting replies. Visits turned into excuses. And slowly, painfully, Lily disappeared from his life. Not because he didn't want her, but because he wasn't allowed to be there anymore. Ethan looked around his apartment. A single dim light, peeling paint on the wall. A small table with unpaid bills stacked like reminders of failure. He wasn't the man he used to be. Back then, he had a stable job, a house, a family. Now he drove for ride apps during the day and did odd repair jobs at night just to survive. Some days he ate once. Some days, not at all. His phone buzzed again. Same number. Need answer now. Yes or no? Ethan stared at it for a long moment. Something about it felt wrong. Too simple. Too easy. Money like that never came without a reason. But then again, neither did hunger. He stood up and walked to the small window. Outside, the city moved like nothing was wrong. Cars passing, people laughing, lights glowing. Everyone had somewhere to go. Everyone except him. He thought about Lily again. Her birthday was next week. He had nothing to send. Not even a small gift. Not even a card. Just silence. And that hurt more than anything. Ethan clenched his jaw. $500. It wasn't just money anymore. It was a chance to feel like a father again, even if only for a moment. Even if it was just sending her something small. Something that said, I didn't forget you. His fingers slowly moved over the screen. He typed one word. Yes. The reply came instantly. Good. Tomorrow. 7 p.m. Black suit. I'll send location. That was it. No name. No details. Nothing. Ethan frowned slightly. Just show up, act normal. He whispered the words to himself. Normal. He almost laughed. What part of his life was normal anymore? The next day felt longer than usual. Every hour dragged. Every minute felt heavy. Ethan spent the afternoon trying to find something decent to wear. He opened his small closet. There it was. His old black suit. Still hanging carefully, like a piece of his past life. He couldn't let go. He took it out slowly. Ran his hand over the fabric. It still fit, barely. He looked at himself in the mirror. For a moment. Just a moment. He almost looked like the man he used to be. But his eyes gave him away. Tired. Empty. Carrying years of regret. He fixed his collar and exhaled deeply. Just 2 hours, he told himself. Take the money and leave. No questions. No emotions. No complications. Simple. At least, that's what he thought. At 6:30 p.m., Ethan received the location. A high-end restaurant downtown. Of course, places like that always came with people who had money to waste. People who lived in a completely different world than his. He arrived 10 minutes early. Not because he wanted to impress anyone, but because he didn't want to risk losing the opportunity. He stood outside for a moment, looking at the entrance. Bright lights, elegant glass doors, well-dressed people walking in and out. He felt out of place already, like he didn't belong there, like someone would stop him and say, "You're in the wrong place." But no one did. So he walked in. The warmth inside hit him instantly. Soft music, low voices, the smell of expensive food. Everything felt distant, unreal. A hostess approached him with a polite smile. "Reservation?" Ethan hesitated for a second. Then he remembered the message. "She should be expecting me," he said quietly. The hostess checked something on her tablet. Then her expression changed slightly. "Ah, yes. This way, sir." Ethan followed her through the restaurant. Each step made his chest feel tighter. Something wasn't right. He couldn't explain it, but there was a strange feeling in his gut, like he was walking into something he didn't understand. Something bigger than just a fake date. They stopped at a table near the back. The woman wasn't there yet. "Your guest will be here shortly," the hostess said before walking away. Ethan sat down slowly. He looked around. Couples talking, laughing, holding hands. Everything looked so normal, so simple. He placed his hands on the table, trying to steady himself. "Just 2 hours," he whispered again. But deep inside, he knew something was about to change. Something he couldn't control. Something he wasn't ready for. And he had no idea that the moment that woman walked in, his entire world would stop. Ethan kept looking at the door. Every time it opened, his eyes moved. Every time someone walked in, his heart reacted for no reason. He didn't even know who he was waiting for. No name, no description, just, "She will be there." He checked the time. 6:58 p.m. 2 minutes left. His fingers tapped lightly on the table, not out of impatience, but because something inside him felt uneasy. That strange feeling again, like he had stepped into something bigger than he understood. The door opened. A woman walked in. Ethan didn't notice her at first, but then she stopped, right at the entrance, and for a brief second, she looked straight at him. Not casually, not like a stranger, but like someone who had been searching for him. Ethan felt it immediately. That look, it made his chest tighten. She started walking toward him. Slow, steady steps. She was well dressed. Simple but elegant. Dark coat, light-colored dress underneath. Her hair tied back neatly. Her face calm, but serious. Too serious for a normal date. Ethan stood up slightly as she reached the table. "Ethan Cole?" she asked. Her voice was soft, but there was something in it. Something heavy. "Yeah, that's me," he replied. She nodded once. "I'm glad you came. Not nice to meet you. Not hi. Just, I'm glad you came." That made Ethan more uncomfortable. She sat down across from him. There was a small silence. The kind that feels too loud. Ethan forced a polite smile. "So, should we pretend we know each other already?" he said, trying to lighten the mood. No reaction. The woman didn't smile. She didn't even look amused. Instead, she just looked at him, studying him, like she was trying to confirm something. Ethan's smile slowly faded. "Look, I don't really know how this works," he added, a little awkward now. "I was just told to show up, act normal." Still nothing. The woman finally spoke. "You don't have to act." Her voice was calm. Too calm. Ethan leaned back slightly. "Okay, then what exactly am I supposed to do here?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she reached for her bag. Slowly, carefully, Ethan watched her hands. Something about the way she moved felt planned, intentional, not random, not casual, like every second mattered. She opened the bag, took something out, a small envelope, placed it gently on the table, right between them. Ethan frowned slightly. "What is this?" he asked. She didn't answer. "Open it," she said quietly. Ethan hesitated. This was not part of any fake date. This was something else. Something serious. He looked at her again. Her face didn't change. No emotion. No smile. Just focus. Ethan slowly reached for the envelope. His fingers felt heavier than usual, like his body already knew. Something inside would change everything. He opened it, pulled out a photograph, and the moment his eyes touched it, everything stopped. His breath caught. His fingers froze. The world around him disappeared. Because the girl in that photo was Lily, his daughter. The same little girl. Same smile. Same eyes. Just a little older now. Ethan's heart started pounding hard. Loud. Fast. Almost painful. His hands began to shake. "No," he whispered. His voice barely came out. He looked up at the woman. His face pale now. Where did you get this? He asked. No answer. Where did you get this? He repeated, louder this time. People at nearby tables turned slightly, but Ethan didn't care. His entire focus was on her. On that photo. On the truth he didn't understand. The woman finally spoke. She's beautiful, she said softly. Ethan's jaw tightened. That's my daughter, he said, his voice shaking. I know. That answer hit him harder than anything. I know. Not I think. Not I heard. She knew. How do you know her? Ethan demanded. Still calm. Still controlled. The woman leaned back slightly. She talks about you sometimes, she said. Ethan felt like the ground disappeared under him. What? He whispered. She remembers you. The woman continued. More than you think. Ethan's eyes filled with confusion. And fear. And something deeper. Hope. Dangerous hope. That's not possible, he said quickly. I haven't seen her in years. I don't even know where she is anymore. The woman watched him closely. Every word. Every reaction. Like she was measuring his truth. People don't forget someone they love, she said. Ethan's hands tightened around the photo. Tell me where she is, he said, his voice low now. Right now. The woman didn't respond immediately. Instead, she leaned slightly forward. Her eyes locked on his. Before I tell you anything, I need to know something first. Ethan frowned. What? Why did you stop trying? She asked. The question hit him like a punch. What are you talking about? He said, defensive now. You said you haven't seen her in years, she continued calmly. So tell me why? Ethan felt anger rise inside him. Because I wasn't allowed to, he snapped. A few people nearby looked again. He lowered his voice. You don't know anything about my life, he said. Then tell me, she replied. Simple. Direct. No emotion. Ethan stared at her. This wasn't an interview. This wasn't a date. This felt like judgment. Like he was being tested. And he didn't know why. I tried, Ethan said after a moment. I called. I went to see her. Her mother blocked me. Moved away. Changed numbers. I had no way to reach them. His voice softened slightly. I didn't give up. I just ran out of ways. The woman didn't look convinced. Or maybe she was just hiding it well. And after that, she asked. Ethan looked down at the photo again. At Lily's face. I kept working, he said quietly. I kept hoping one day I'd find her again. He paused, then added softly. Every day. There was a silence. A long one. The kind that feels heavy. The woman slowly nodded. As if she heard something she needed to hear. But Ethan didn't feel relieved. Because one question was still burning inside him. How do you know her? He asked again. This time slower. More serious. The woman looked at him. Really looked at him. Then she said something that made his heart stop again. I see her almost every day. Ethan's eyes widened. What? And she's not as far from you as you think. Everything inside him froze. Hope. Fear. Shock. All at once. Where is she? He asked, almost whispering now. But the woman didn't answer. Not yet. Instead, she picked up the photo again, turned it slightly toward him, and said, There's something you need to understand first. And in that moment, Ethan realized this wasn't just about finding his daughter. This was about something much deeper. Something he was not ready to face. Ethan didn't remember how long he stood there, frozen, staring at the photo in Claire's hand. It felt like time had stopped. The noise of the restaurant, the soft music, people talking, everything faded away. All he could see was that picture. His daughter, Lily. Same small smile. Same pink jacket. Same little scar near her eyebrow from when she fell off her bike last year. There was no mistake. His voice came out low, almost like a whisper. Where did you get that? Claire didn't answer immediately. She slowly placed the photo on the table between them. Ethan's hands were shaking as he picked it up again, like maybe if he touched it, it would disappear. But it didn't. This isn't funny, he said, his voice breaking now. If this is some kind of joke. It's not a joke, Claire said softly. Ethan looked up at her, his eyes filled with anger now. Then explain it. A few people nearby turned their heads. But Ethan didn't care. This is my daughter, he said louder now. Her name is Lily. She's 9 years old. So tell me how you have her photo. Claire took a deep breath. You're right, she said. Her name is Lily. That hit Ethan like a punch. His chest tightened. How do you know that? He asked. Claire leaned slightly forward, her voice still calm. Because I've been looking for her. Ethan blinked. What? For 3 months, Claire continued. I've been trying to find her. Ethan shook his head, confused and angry at the same time. No, this doesn't make sense. Lily is with my sister. She stays with her after school sometimes. She's fine. Claire didn't argue. She just looked at him. Ethan, she said gently, when was the last time you actually saw her? That question, it hit something deep. Ethan opened his mouth to answer, but nothing came out. His mind started racing. He saw flashes. Last week? No, wait. He had worked late. The week before, he had sent money. He called his sister. She said Lily was okay. Right? His breathing got heavier. I talked to her, he said quickly. On the phone. Claire nodded slowly. And did you see her? Ethan stayed silent. His fingers tightened around the photo. Something didn't feel right anymore. Something he had been ignoring, pushing away, was suddenly very real. Claire spoke again. I'm not here to hurt you, she said. I'm here because something is wrong. Ethan looked at her sharply. What do you mean wrong? Claire glanced around, then lowered her voice. I work with a private investigation group, she said. We help find missing people. Ethan's heart dropped. Missing, he repeated. Yes, Claire said. And Lily's name came up 2 weeks ago. Ethan shook his head immediately. No, that's not possible. No one reported her missing. Claire looked at him carefully. Are you sure? Ethan felt like the ground under him was starting to move. My sister would never. Ethan, Claire interrupted gently. I followed your sister. That made him stop. What? I've been watching her for days, Claire said. And Lily, she's not with her. Silence. Heavy silence. Ethan's chest was rising and falling fast now. You're lying, he said, but his voice was weak. Claire slowly reached into her bag again. Ethan's eyes followed her hand. She pulled out another photo and slid it across the table. Ethan looked down. This time, it wasn't just Lily. It was a picture of his sister's house. But the windows were dark. The yard was empty. And the date was printed at the bottom. Yesterday. She hasn't been there for days, Claire said quietly. Ethan's head started spinning. No, she works late sometimes. Claire didn't respond to that. Instead, she asked one simple question. When was the last time Lily went to school? Ethan froze again. Because he didn't know. He had been so busy. Work, bills, life. He trusted his sister. He never thought to check. Guilt hit him hard. Like a wave. I don't know, he whispered. Claire's voice softened. That's why I needed to find you. Ethan looked at her, his eyes now full of fear. Why me? Because, Claire said, you're her father. And you deserve to know the truth. Ethan leaned back in his chair, trying to breathe. This can't be real. Claire stayed calm. I wish it wasn't. Ethan looked at the photo again. His daughter. His little girl. The room suddenly felt too small. I need to call my sister, he said quickly, grabbing his phone. His hands were shaking so much he almost dropped it. He dialed her number. It rang, and rang, and rang. No answer. He tried again. Same thing. Now his heart was racing. She's not picking up, he said, panic growing in his voice. Claire nodded slowly. She hasn't been answering anyone. Ethan stood up suddenly. I'm going there. Claire stood too. I'll come with you. Ethan looked at her for a second. A stranger. Someone he met just minutes ago. But right now, she was the only one giving him answers. Fine, he said quickly. They rushed out of the restaurant. The cold air hit Ethan's face, but he barely felt it. His mind was only on one thing. Lily. They got into his car. Ethan started the engine with shaking hands. Tell me everything, he said as he drove. Claire looked straight ahead. 2 weeks ago, a report came in, she began. A neighbor noticed your sister's house was quiet. Too quiet. No lights. No movement. And Lily hadn't been seen. Ethan gripped the steering wheel tighter. Why didn't anyone tell me? We tried to contact family, Claire said. But your number was outdated in the system. Ethan cursed under his breath. Of course. He had changed his number months ago. And never updated anything. Guilt hit him again. Harder this time. I should have checked, he whispered. Claire didn't respond. A few minutes later, they turned onto his sister's street. Ethan's heart was pounding. The house came into view. And just like in the photo, it was dark. Empty. Ethan parked the car quickly and got out. He ran to the door. Knocked. Sarah, he shouted. Open the door. No answer. He tried the handle. Locked. Claire walked up beside him. Step back, she said. Ethan hesitated, then moved. Claire pulled out a small tool from her bag. Within seconds. Click. The door opened. Ethan didn't even question it. He rushed inside. Lily, he called out. Lily, it's Dad. Silence. The house felt cold. Empty. Like no one had been there for days. Ethan walked through the living room. Everything looked normal. but also wrong. No toys. No sound. No life. He moved to Lily's room, slowly opened the door, and his heart broke. The bed was empty. Her favorite stuffed bear was on the floor, but she wasn't there. Ethan dropped to his knees. Lily. Claire stood in the doorway, watching quietly. Then she noticed something. A small envelope on the desk. Ethan, she said. He looked up. She picked it up and handed it to him. His name was written on it. His hands trembled as he opened it. Inside was a note. Ethan unfolded it and started reading. His face changed instantly. Fear. Shock. Then something even worse. Regret. Claire watched him carefully. What does it say? She asked. Ethan's voice came out broken. It's from Sarah? He swallowed hard. She says she had no choice. Claire frowned. No choice for what? Ethan looked up at her, his eyes full of pain. She gave Lily to someone. Claire's eyes widened. What? Ethan shook his head slowly. She says she owed money, a lot of money, and they took Lily instead. The room went silent. Heavy. Dark. Claire took a step forward. Who are they? Ethan's hands tightened around the paper. I don't know, but deep inside, he felt something. Something terrible. This wasn't just about money. This was something much bigger and much more dangerous. Ethan stood up slowly. His face changed. The fear was still there, but now, there was something else too. Determination. I'm getting her back, he said. Claire looked at him. This won't be easy. Ethan met her eyes. I don't care. He took a deep breath. She's my daughter. And for the first time since this started, he wasn't frozen anymore. He was ready to fight. Ethan stood in the middle of the empty room, still holding the letter in his hand. His fingers were tight around the paper. Too tight. Like if he let go, everything would fall apart again. She gave Lily to someone. The words kept repeating in his mind. Over and over. Claire was watching him carefully. She had seen this before. That moment when truth hits harder than anything. Ethan, she said softly, we need to stay calm. But he wasn't calm. Not even close. That's my daughter, he said, his voice shaking. She's not something you just give away. He turned and hit his fist lightly against the wall. Not hard enough to break anything. Just enough to release something inside him. I should have been here, he whispered. I should have checked. I should have. Stop, Claire said firmly. Ethan looked at her. You can blame yourself later, she continued. Right now, we focus on finding her. Ethan took a deep breath. She was right. Blame wouldn't help Lily. Action would. What do we do? He asked. Claire stepped forward and took the letter from his hand. She read it again, slowly this time. Carefully. There's something here, she said. Ethan frowned. What? Claire pointed to a line in the letter. She says, I didn't know they would take her this far. Ethan looked at the words. Yeah? That means she knows who took Lily, Claire said. And she knows where they went. Ethan's eyes sharpened. Then we find her, he said quickly. We make her talk. Claire nodded slightly. That's the plan. Ethan looked around the house one more time. Empty. Silent. No answers here. Let's go, he said. They walked out quickly, back into the cold night. Ethan got into the car, his movements faster now. More focused. Claire sat beside him. Where does your sister usually go? She asked. Ethan started the engine. She has a friend, he said. Megan. They've known each other for years. Address. Ethan nodded. I know it. He drove fast. Too fast. Claire noticed. Slow down, she said. We won't help Lily if we crash. Ethan didn't reply, but he eased the speed slightly. His mind was racing. Images of Lily. Her laugh. Her voice. Her calling him dad. And now, she was gone. Taken. Because of a mistake he didn't even know about. Guilt burned inside him. But now, it was turning into something else. Anger. Real anger. They reached the house in about 15 minutes. A small place. Lights on. That was a good sign. Ethan parked quickly and got out. Claire followed. He didn't knock. He went straight to the door and hit it hard. Sarah, he shouted. No answer. He knocked again. Louder. Open the door. This time footsteps. The door opened slowly. And there she was. Sarah. His sister. She looked tired. Her eyes red. Like she hadn't slept in days. The moment she saw Ethan, her face changed. Fear. Real fear. Ethan, she whispered. He didn't wait. Where is she? He demanded. Sarah stepped back. Where is Lily? Ethan shouted. Claire stepped forward slightly, ready to step in if things got out of control. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I didn't want this, she said quickly. You have to believe me. Ethan moved closer. I don't care what you wanted, he said, his voice low and dangerous. I care about where my daughter is. Sarah shook her head, crying now. I had no choice. There's always a choice. Ethan snapped. No, she shouted back suddenly. Not when they come to your door and tell you they'll destroy everything. Silence. That line hit hard. Ethan stopped for a second. Claire stepped in gently. Who are they? She asked. Sarah looked at her, confused. Who is she? She asked Ethan. She's helping me, Ethan said quickly. Now answer the question. Sarah hesitated, then slowly said, people I owed money to. Ethan's jaw tightened. How much? Sarah looked down. 30,000. Ethan's eyes widened. 30? How did you even? I was trying to fix things, she cried. After you lost your job, after everything fell apart. I was helping with Lily, helping with bills. I thought I could handle it. Ethan shook his head. So you borrowed money from criminals? I didn't know they were like that at first, she said. They seemed normal, easy. But then it got worse. Interest, threats. Claire stepped closer. When did they take Lily? She asked. Sarah wiped her tears. 3 days ago. Ethan felt like his heart stopped again. 3 days, he whispered. Claire stayed calm. What exactly happened? Sarah took a deep breath. They came here, she said. 2 men. Said I had one last chance to pay. And? Ethan asked. I didn't have it, she said. I told them I needed more time. Her voice broke. They looked at Lily, and one of them said, we'll take something valuable instead. Ethan's fists clenched. And you let them? He shouted. I tried to stop them. Sarah cried. I begged them. I said take anything else. My car, the house, anything. Tears ran down her face. But they said she was insurance. The room went silent. Heavy. Dark. Claire spoke again. Did they say where they were taking her? Sarah nodded slowly. Yes. Ethan stepped forward instantly. Where? Sarah looked at him, her face full of regret. A warehouse, near the old industrial area, she said. Claire's eyes sharpened. Do you know exactly where? Sarah nodded again. I can show you. Ethan didn't hesitate. Get your coat, he said. Sarah froze. You're going there? She asked. Ethan looked at her. Of course I am. That's dangerous, she said quickly. Those people, they're not normal. I don't care, Ethan replied. Claire stepped in. She's right, she said. This isn't just about walking in and taking Lily back. Ethan looked at her. So what do you suggest? We wait. Claire shook her head. No. We plan. Ethan was breathing hard now. Every second felt too slow. They have my daughter, he said. I'm not waiting. Claire stepped closer to him. Listen to me, she said firmly. If we rush in without thinking, we could make it worse. Ethan stayed silent. She was right, but it didn't make it easier. Give me 10 minutes, Claire said. We think. Then we move. Ethan closed his eyes for a second, then nodded. Fine. Claire turned to Sarah. Tell me everything you remember, she said. How many men? What they looked like? Any names? Sarah nodded, still shaking. 2 men, she said. One tall, one shorter. The tall one, they called him Victor. Claire's expression changed slightly. Victor, she repeated. Ethan noticed. You know him? He asked. Claire didn't answer immediately, but her face said enough. Yes, she finally said. And that one word made everything feel even more dangerous. Ethan looked at her. Who is he? Claire took a deep breath. He's not just some random guy, she said. He runs a small network. Loans, collections, and worse. Ethan's jaw tightened. So he's the one who took Lily. Claire nodded slowly. Yes. Silence filled the room again. But this time, it wasn't just fear. It was something else. Something stronger. Ethan looked at both of them. His voice was steady now. Cold. Focused. Then we go get her. Claire looked at him. And for the first time, she saw something different in his eyes. Not panic. Not fear. But determination. Real determination. This was no longer just a man looking for answers. This was a father. Ready to do anything. And deep down, Claire knew. This was about to get very dangerous. The room felt smaller now. Like the walls were closing in. Ethan stood near the door, his hands tight, his mind racing faster than ever. A warehouse. Somewhere in the industrial area. His daughter, in the hands of dangerous people. Every second felt too slow. We go now, he said again. But Claire didn't move. She was thinking. Carefully. Like every step mattered. Ethan, she said, calm but serious. If we go in without a plan, we could lose everything. Ethan looked at her. I've already lost enough, he replied. I know, she said softly. But this is not just about courage. It's about being smart. Sarah was standing behind them, shaking. I can take you there, she said quietly. Ethan nodded immediately. Good. Let's go. Claire raised her hand slightly. Wait. Ethan exhaled in frustration. What now? Claire stepped closer. Tell me something, she said. When they took Lily, did they hurt her? Sarah shook her head quickly. No. They didn't touch her. They just took her. Claire nodded. That means they don't want to hurt her, she said. Not yet. Ethan frowned. What does that mean? It means she's valuable to them, Claire explained. They are using her as pressure, not as a target. Ethan didn't like that answer. At all. She's not a thing, he said angrily. I know, Claire said. But to them, she is. Silence again. Ethan looked down at the floor, trying to think, trying to control himself. So what's the plan? He asked. Claire took a breath. We go there, she said. But we don't rush inside. Ethan crossed his arms. Then what? We watch first, she said. We understand the place. How many people? How they move. Ethan nodded slowly. It made sense, even if it was hard. And then, he asked. Claire looked at him. Then we find the right moment. Ethan didn't ask more. He understood. They were not just going to knock on the door. This was something else. Something risky. Something serious. Okay, he said finally. They stepped outside again. Cold air hit their faces. But no one noticed. All three of them were thinking about the same thing. Lily. They got into the car. This time, Sarah sat in the back. Ethan started driving. The city lights slowly changed. From bright streets, to darker roads, to empty industrial areas, old buildings, closed factories, broken fences. It felt like a different world. A dangerous one. No one comes here at night, Sarah said quietly. Claire looked out the window. That's exactly why they chose it. Ethan drove slower now. More careful. Which one? He asked. Sarah leaned forward slightly. There, she said, pointing ahead. A large warehouse. Old. Rusty. One dim light near the entrance. And a single black van parked outside. Ethan parked the car far away, behind another building. They all stayed quiet for a moment. Just looking. This is it, Sarah whispered. Ethan's heart was pounding again. Stay here, he said to her. Sarah nodded quickly. I'm not going anywhere. Ethan and Claire stepped out of the car. They moved slowly, carefully, keeping distance, hiding behind shadows. Claire stopped near a corner. From here, she whispered, we watch. Ethan nodded. His eyes locked on the warehouse. Every movement, every sound, every shadow. Time felt slow again. Minutes passed. Then, the door opened. A man stepped out. Tall, broad shoulders, smoking. Ethan's jaw tightened. Is that him? Claire whispered. Sarah's voice came quietly from behind. Yes, that's Victor. Ethan felt anger rise instantly. That man took his daughter. Victor stood outside for a moment, talking on the phone. Then he looked around, like he was checking something. Ethan held his breath. Victor didn't see them. After a minute, he went back inside. The door closed. Silence again. Claire looked at Ethan. We have at least one confirmed, she said. Ethan nodded. There are more, he said. There always are, Claire replied. They kept watching. Another 10 minutes. Then a second man came out. Shorter. Nervous. Looking around quickly. He opened the van. Took something out. A bag. Then went back inside. Claire leaned closer. Two at least, she whispered. Ethan's mind was working fast now. Lily is inside, he said. Claire nodded. Yes. Ethan looked at the door again. Every second felt heavier. I can't wait, he said. Claire grabbed his arm lightly. You have to. Ethan looked at her. I'm her father, he said. I'm not standing here while she's in there. Claire's voice stayed calm. And if you rush in and they panic? What if they move her? Or worse? Ethan froze. That thought hit hard. He stepped back slightly, trying to breathe, trying to think. Claire softened her tone. I know what you're feeling, she said. But this is the moment that matters most. One wrong move, and everything changes. Ethan nodded slowly. He hated it. But she was right. Okay, he said. They stayed there, watching, learning. After some time, Claire spoke again. There's a side door, she said quietly. Ethan looked. Yes, a smaller door, half hidden, less guarded, she added. Ethan understood immediately. That's our way in. Claire nodded. Maybe. Ethan looked at her. Maybe. We still don't know what's inside, she said. Layout, rooms, anything. Ethan clenched his fists again. We don't have time for perfect, he said. Claire looked at him, and for a moment, she saw something dangerous. Not just determination, but desperation. And desperation can lead to mistakes. Ethan, she said, serious now, promise me something. He looked at her. What? When we go in, you follow my lead. Ethan hesitated. For a second, then nodded. Fine. Claire studied his face, making sure he meant it. Then she nodded back. Good. She looked at the warehouse again, then at the side door. This is our chance, she whispered. Ethan's heart started beating faster. This was it. No more waiting. No more thinking. Action. Claire moved first. Slow. Silent. Ethan followed. Every step careful. Every breath controlled. They reached the side of the building. The door was right there. Old. Slightly open. Claire looked at Ethan. Ready. He nodded. Ready. She pushed the door slowly. It opened with a soft creak. Both of them froze for a second. Listening. No sound. They stepped inside. Dark. Cold. Quiet. The air felt heavy. Like danger was everywhere. Ethan's eyes adjusted slowly. Shapes started to appear. Boxes. Old machines. A long hallway ahead. Claire whispered. Stay close. Ethan nodded. They moved forward. Slow. Careful. Then, a sound. A faint sound. Ethan stopped. Claire looked at him. Did you hear that? He whispered. Claire listened. There it was again. Soft. Weak. A small voice. Ethan's heart stopped. Dad. Everything inside him broke at once. That voice. He knew it. He would recognize it anywhere. Lily, he whispered. Claire grabbed his arm quickly. Wait. But Ethan couldn't wait anymore. Because his daughter was right there. And for the first time, he knew for sure. She was alive. Ethan didn't think anymore. The moment he heard Lily's voice, everything else disappeared. Lily, he whispered, louder this time, his voice shaking. Claire grabbed his arm harder. Ethan, stop. But it was too late. He pulled away and moved fast down the hallway. Every step louder than it should be. Every second more dangerous. Dad? The small voice came again, weak, scared. I'm here, baby. I'm here. Ethan said, his voice breaking. Claire followed right behind him, her face tense. This was not part of the plan. At the end of the hallway, there was a door. Old. Locked from outside. Ethan rushed to it and grabbed the handle. Locked. Of course it was locked. Move, Claire whispered. She quickly pulled something from her pocket. A small metal tool. Her hands moved fast, precise. Click. The door opened. Ethan didn't wait. He pushed it open and rushed inside. The room was small. Cold. A single weak bulb hanging from the ceiling. And there, in the corner, sitting on the floor, was Lily. Her hands tied. Her face pale. Her eyes filled with fear. But alive. Dad, she whispered. Ethan dropped to his knees instantly. Lily. He pulled her into his arms. Tight. Like he would never let go again. I'm here. I'm here. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Lily started crying. Small, broken sobs. I was scared. I know, baby. Claire quickly stepped inside and closed the door behind them, her eyes scanning everything. We don't have time, she said quietly. Ethan nodded, still holding Lily. Claire moved fast. She untied Lily's hands, checked her wrists. No injuries, she whispered. Can you stand? She asked gently. Lily nodded slowly. Ethan helped her up. She held his hand tight. Like if she let go, she would disappear again. We're leaving, Ethan said. But Claire didn't move. Wait. Ethan looked at her. What now? Claire stepped closer, her voice serious. This is too easy. Ethan frowned. What? Claire looked around the room again. No guards. No locks inside. No resistance. Ethan didn't understand. So what? We got lucky. Claire shook her head slowly. No. People like Victor don't make mistakes like this. Ethan felt something cold run through his chest. What are you saying? Claire looked him straight in the eyes. I'm saying this might be a trap. Silence. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Ethan looked down at Lily. She was holding his hand tightly. Scared. Real. Not a trap. This is my daughter, he said firmly. I'm not leaving her here because of a maybe. Claire didn't argue. She understood that. But her instincts were screaming. Okay, she said finally. Then we move fast. No mistakes. Ethan nodded. Let's go. They stepped out into the hallway again. Everything felt different now. More tense. More dangerous. Claire walked ahead, checking corners, listening carefully. Ethan stayed close behind with Lily. Stay quiet, he whispered to her. Lily nodded. They reached the main area. Large space. Empty machines. Dark corners. The exit door just ahead. Almost there. Almost safe. Then, a sound. A loud metal noise. The main door slammed shut. Hard. Locked. Ethan froze. Claire turned instantly. I knew it, she whispered. Lights turned on. Bright. Blinding. And then, clapping. Slow. Cold. Echoing in the empty warehouse. Well done, a voice said. Victor. He stepped out from the shadows. Same calm face. Same dangerous smile. But now more confident. More in control. Ethan stepped in front of Lily instantly. His body blocking her. You're not touching her again, he said. Victor smiled slightly. Relax, he said. If I wanted to hurt her, I already would have. Claire's eyes moved around. 2 more men appeared. One near the door. One near the side. They were surrounded. You planned this, Claire said. Victor nodded slowly. Of course. He looked at Ethan. You're predictable. A father always runs toward his child. Ethan clenched his fists. You used her, he said. Victor shrugged. I used what works. Lily held Ethan tighter. Dad, she whispered. It's okay, he said softly. I've got you. Victor stepped closer. But this isn't over yet, he said. Ethan's eyes burned with anger. What do you want? Victor smiled. A conversation. Claire stepped slightly forward. You kidnapped a child for a conversation? Victor looked at her. You're smart. I like that. Then back to Ethan. I didn't bring you here to hurt you, Victor said. I brought you here because I need something. Ethan didn't trust a single word. What? Victor's expression changed slightly. More serious now. There's something only you can do. Ethan frowned. That's not my problem. Victor tilted his head. It is if you want her to walk out of here safely. Silence again. Heavy. Ethan looked at Lily. Then back at Victor. You already have her, Ethan said. You don't need to talk. Victor smiled slightly. That's where you're wrong. He pointed at Claire. I let you find her. Claire's jaw tightened. I opened a path, Victor continued. I wanted you here. All of you. Ethan felt the truth in that. Everything was controlled. Every step. Every moment. They didn't rescue Lily. They were led to her. Why? Ethan asked. Victor stepped even closer. Because now you're listening. Claire whispered. What do you want from him? Victor's eyes stayed on Ethan. I want access. Ethan frowned. To what? Victor paused, then said something that made everything worse. Your company. Ethan's face changed. No. Victor smiled. Yes. Ethan shook his head. You're insane. Victor's voice stayed calm. No. I'm prepared. Claire looked at Ethan quickly. What is he talking about? Ethan didn't answer. Victor did. He works security systems, Victor said. High-level access. Private networks. Protected buildings. Claire's eyes widened slightly. This was bigger than she thought. I need him to open a door for me, Victor said simply. Ethan stepped forward. No. Victor sighed. You're not in a position to say no. Ethan's voice got louder. I will never help you. Victor's eyes turned cold. He nodded to one of his men. The man stepped forward slightly. Lily gasped and hid behind Ethan. Stop. Ethan shouted. Victor raised his hand. The man stopped. I don't want to hurt her, Victor said calmly. But I will if you force me. Ethan's heart felt like it would explode. This was it. The real reason. The real game. And now, he had to choose. Help a criminal. Or risk his daughter's life. Claire stepped closer to him. Her voice low. Ethan, think. He looked at her. How can I think right now? Claire's eyes were sharp. Because this is exactly what he wants. Panic. Victor smiled slightly. She's right. Ethan looked back at Victor. Breathing heavy. Mind racing. There had to be a way. There had to be something he was missing. Because giving up was not an option. Not for him. Not for Lily. And not today. Ethan's mind was moving fast now. Too fast. Fear, anger, love, all fighting inside him at the same time. Victor stood in front of him, calm, like he already knew how this would end. You don't have time to think forever, Victor said quietly. Ethan looked down at Lily. She was holding his hand so tight. Her small fingers shaking. Her eyes full of trust. That trust. It hurt more than anything. Dad, she whispered. Ethan bent slightly and looked into her eyes. It's okay, he said softly. I'm here. But inside, nothing felt okay. Claire stepped closer to him again. Her voice low, only for him. Listen to me carefully, she said. Ethan looked at her. We don't win by saying no right now, she continued. We win by staying alive and keeping her safe. Ethan's jaw tightened. You want me to agree to this? He whispered. I want you to think, Claire replied. Not react. Victor watched them quietly, waiting, patient, like a man who had done this before. Ethan stood straight again. His face changed, calmer, but not weaker. He looked at Victor. What exactly do you want? He asked. Victor smiled slightly. That's better. He took a step forward. There is a private building, he said. High security. No easy access. Your company installed the system. Ethan didn't respond. He knew where this was going. I need you to open it, Victor said. Ethan shook his head slowly. I don't have that kind of control. Victor chuckled. Don't insult me. Claire watched carefully. Every word. Every move. What's inside that building? She asked. Victor looked at her, then smiled. Something valuable. That doesn't answer the question, Claire said. Victor's eyes narrowed slightly. You ask too many questions. And you hide too much, Claire replied calmly. For a moment, there was tension between them. Then Victor looked back at Ethan. You don't need details, he said. You just need to do your job. Ethan stayed silent, thinking. Every second mattered now. What happens after? Ethan asked. Victor raised an eyebrow. After what? After I help you, Ethan said. What happens to us? Victor smiled again. You walk away. Ethan didn't believe that. Not for a second. You expect me to trust you? He said. Victor shrugged. You don't have a better option. Silence. Heavy again. Claire leaned slightly closer to Ethan. Stall him, she whispered. We need time. Ethan gave a small nod, then looked at Victor again. I need proof, he said. Victor frowned. Proof of what? That she will be safe? Ethan said, pointing to Lily. Victor sighed. You already have your daughter. Ethan shook his head. No, I need more than words. Victor stared at him, trying to read him. Ethan didn't move, didn't break eye contact. Finally, Victor spoke. What do you want? Ethan took a breath. I want her out first, he said. Claire looked at him quickly. Bold move. Very risky. Victor laughed softly. You think I'm stupid? Ethan didn't react. You want access? He said. Then you give me something real. Victor's smile slowly disappeared. The room felt colder. You're asking for too much, Victor said. And you're asking me to betray everything, Ethan replied. For a moment, no one moved. No one spoke. Then Victor stepped closer. Very close now. His voice low. Dangerous. You're not in control here. Ethan didn't step back. And yet, you still need me, he said. That hit. Victor didn't like that. Claire saw it. This was the first crack. Small, but real. Victor looked at Lily, then back at Ethan. You're playing a dangerous game, he said. Ethan answered quietly. So are you. Silence again. Then, Victor turned slightly, thinking, calculating. He looked at one of his men, then back at Ethan. Fine, he said slowly. Claire's eyes narrowed. What was he planning? She stays with you, Victor continued. But she doesn't leave. Ethan frowned. That's not what I said. That's what you're getting, Victor replied. Ethan's fists clenched. Not enough. Still not safe. Claire stepped in. We need something more, she said. Victor looked annoyed now. You're pushing your luck. Claire didn't stop. You want cooperation? Then build trust. Victor stared at her. Long. Hard. Then suddenly, he smiled again. Different this time. Smarter. I see what you're doing, he said. Claire didn't respond. You're buying time, Victor added. Ethan's heart skipped, but his face stayed calm. Victor looked at his watch, then around the warehouse. You think help is coming? He asked. Claire said nothing. Victor chuckled. No one is coming. Then he stepped even closer. And even if they were, they wouldn't find you in time. Ethan felt pressure building again. Time was running out. They couldn't wait forever. Claire leaned in again, whispering fast. We need another move. Ethan nodded slightly. He looked down at Lily, then back at Victor. Okay, he said. Victor raised an eyebrow. Okay. I'll do it, Ethan said. Claire looked at him sharply. But Ethan didn't look at her. He kept his eyes on Victor. I'll open the system for you, he continued. Victor smiled slowly. That's a smart choice. But, Ethan added. Victor's smile paused. There's always a but. Ethan took a step forward. I go alone. Claire's eyes widened slightly. Victor frowned. No. Yes, Ethan said. You want clean access? No risks? Then I go alone. Victor shook his head. You think I'll just let you walk out? Ethan stayed calm. You need someone inside who knows what he's doing, he said. If you send your men, they mess it up. They get caught. Everything fails. Victor didn't answer immediately, because that was true. Claire saw it. This was the second crack. Ethan continued. I go in. I open the system. I give you what you want. Victor crossed his arms. And why would I trust you? Ethan looked at him. You don't, he said. You control everything from here. Victor thought for a moment, then asked, and them? He pointed at Claire and Lily. Ethan's voice got stronger. They stay here. Claire looked at him again. Now she understood. This was not surrender. This was a move. A risky one, but a move. Victor studied Ethan carefully, trying to see the truth behind his words. You're offering yourself, Victor said. Ethan nodded. Yes. Victor smiled slowly. I like that. Claire's heart was beating faster now. This could work. Or it could go very wrong. Victor looked at his men, then back at Ethan. All right, he said. Ethan didn't react. But inside, everything was tense. You go, Victor continued. You do the job. He stepped closer. And if you try anything. He looked at Lily. She pays the price. Ethan's chest tightened. But he nodded. I understand. Claire moved closer to him quickly. Her voice low. Be careful, she whispered. Ethan looked at her. For her, he said. Claire nodded. For her. Victor clapped his hands once. Good, he said. Now we're getting somewhere. But what Victor didn't see, what he didn't understand, was this. Ethan was not just walking into danger. He was walking into a plan. A plan that could either save everything or destroy it all. Ethan walked toward the door without looking back. But every step felt heavy. Because behind him, his whole world was standing there. Lily, small, scared, silent, and Claire, watching everything, thinking ahead, planning, hoping. Victor's man opened the door. Cold air rushed in again. Let's go, the man said. Ethan stepped outside. A black car was waiting. Engine running. Doors open. Victor walked behind him. Not too close, but close enough to remind him. This was not freedom. This was control. Ethan stopped near the car. He turned slightly. Just 1 second. Just one look. Lily was standing at the warehouse door, holding Claire's hand. Her eyes locked on him. Dad, she whispered. Ethan forced a small smile. It's okay, he said softly. I'll be back. He didn't know if that was true, but she needed to hear it. He got into the car. The door shut. And just like that, he was gone. The car moved fast through the empty roads. No one spoke. The man in the front seat kept watching him through the mirror. Ethan stayed quiet. But his mind was not quiet at all. He was thinking about everything. The warehouse, Victor, the building, and Claire. Because he trusted her. More than he expected. She was smart, calm, and she understood something very important. This was not over. Not even close. Back at the warehouse, Claire didn't move. She stood still, watching the car disappear. Then she slowly looked down at Lily. It's going to be okay, Claire said gently. Lily didn't answer. She just held Claire tighter. Do you trust your dad? Claire asked softly. Lily nodded. Yes. Claire gave a small smile. Good. Because he's very brave. But inside, Claire was already working, already thinking, already building the next move. She looked around the warehouse. 2 men still inside. Victor, near the center. Relaxed. Confident. Too confident. Claire stepped forward slowly. Victor looked at her. Well, he said, your friend made the right choice. Claire didn't smile. He did what he had to do. Victor nodded. Exactly. Claire looked at him carefully. You really think this will end well for you? Victor raised an eyebrow. It always does. Claire didn't respond. Because people like Victor always think they are in control, until they are not. Time passed. Slow. Heavy. Every second felt longer. Lily was sitting now. Quiet. Tired. Claire stayed close to her. But her eyes kept moving. Counting. Watching. Learning. 2 guards. One near the door. One near the side. Victor in the middle. No rush. No panic. That meant one thing. Victor believed Ethan would do the job. That was his mistake. Claire leaned closer to Lily. Hey, she whispered. I need you to be strong for a little longer. Can you do that? Lily nodded slowly. I can. Claire smiled softly. Good girl. Then Claire stood up. Slowly. Calmly. She looked at Victor. I have a question, she said. Victor sighed slightly. You asked too many. And you answered too little, Claire replied. Victor smirked. Fine. One question. Claire stepped a little closer. Why him, she asked. Why not someone else? Victor shrugged. Because he's perfect. Claire tilted her head. How? Victor smiled. He cares too much. Claire didn't react. But inside, she understood. That was the weakness Victor was using. love, fear, family. But that's also your risk, Claire said quietly. Victor frowned. How? Claire looked straight at him. Because people who care that much don't break easily. Victor laughed softly. You think he has a plan? Claire didn't answer. Victor shook his head. No, he's just a father trying to save his daughter. Claire said nothing, but her silence said everything. Back in the car, Ethan finally spoke. How far? He asked. The man in front answered. Not far. Ethan nodded. His eyes moved to the window. City lights again, but different now. Colder, more dangerous. Then the car stopped. A tall building stood in front of them. Modern, clean, secure. Ethan knew this place. Of course he did. He helped design the system. Out, the man said. Ethan stepped out slowly. His heart started beating faster again. This was it. The moment. The real test. He walked toward the entrance. 2 guards at the front. They stepped aside. Victor had planned everything. Ethan entered the building. Everything inside was quiet. Silent. Perfect. Just like a system should be. But Ethan knew something Victor didn't. Every system has a weakness. You just need to know where to look. Back at the warehouse, Claire suddenly moved. Fast. Unexpected. She grabbed a metal tool from a nearby table. Before the nearest guard could react, she hit him. Hard. He dropped instantly. The second guard turned. Hey, too late. Claire kicked him back. He stumbled. Victor stepped forward. Stop. But Claire was already moving. She grabbed Lily's hand. Run. Lily didn't think. She just followed. Victor shouted. Get them. But one guard was down. The other was still recovering. Claire pulled Lily toward the side door. Fast. Every second mattered. They reached the door. Locked. Of course. Claire worked fast. Hands moving quickly. Come on, come on. Behind them. Footsteps. Closer. Closer. Click. The door opened. Go. Claire said. They ran outside. Cold air again. Freedom, almost. But behind them, Victor's voice. Don't move. Claire turned. Victor was at the door, gun in his hand, pointing at them. Lily froze. Claire slowly stepped in front of her. Let her go, Claire said. Victor's face was calm. Too calm. You think you can run? He said. Claire didn't answer. Because right then, her phone vibrated. One message. From Ethan. She looked down quickly. Just 2 words. System done. Claire smiled slightly, then looked at Victor. You lost, she said. Victor frowned. What? And then, sirens. Loud. Close. Coming fast. Police. Everywhere. Victor's face changed. First time. Real fear. He started. Claire stepped back. You were never in control, she said. Police cars surrounded the area. Lights flashing. Voices shouting. Drop the weapon. Victor looked around. Trapped. No way out. He dropped the gun slowly. Game over. Hours later, everything was quiet again. Safe. Ethan stood outside the station, waiting. Then, the door opened. Lily ran out. Dad. Ethan dropped to his knees. Held her tight. Stronger than ever before. You're safe, you're safe. Lily smiled through tears. You came back. Ethan kissed her head. Always. Claire walked out behind them. Tired, but calm. Ethan stood up. Looked at her. Thank you, he said. Claire shook her head slightly. We did it together. Ethan smiled. For the first time, real peace. Sometimes, life puts you in impossible situations, where every choice feels wrong, where fear controls everything. But in the end, it's not about being fearless. It's about choosing love, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, because that's what makes you strong. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay with us for more powerful stories like this. And before you go, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? We love seeing how far our stories reach around the world, because every story connects us.